The secret to having a great reading year is starting it off super strong with an amazing MBR. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today guys we are discussing January 2023's MBR. These are the books that might be read, but before we get into the list as it were, let's do all of that YouTube nonsense. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel as it does help the channel grow, and make sure to check out the description down below for the links to the Wizardly Duo Discord, links to all my social media, and information about my Patreon. And that said guys, we've got some books to talk about because it is a new year, and I'm trying out something new this year. You know, last year I hit over 200 books. I started the year with a 100 goal. Then I had to change my goal to 150. Then I upped it to 175. Then I upped it to 200, and I blew past even that. And the goal this year is to read books that make me happy, that make me excited. And to do that, I want to slow down just a little bit. I want to limit myself to probably no more than 13 to 15 books a month. And I know that's still a lot of books, but a fair bit of that is audio, because I do listen to a lot of audiobooks. But I want to take my time, slow down a little bit, and not just try and constantly cram as many books into a month as I possibly can, because I think this is leading to me DNFing more books than I probably should be. So starting off, I am doing a thing where I asked my booktube big sister, Leslie, the nerdy narrative, to recommend 4 books to me. And I wanted to try those 4 books because Leslie reads so many great books that I know I'm never going to get to them if I don't ask her to give me the recommendation. Just like, hey, what do you think I would like? Because you know my taste, you know what I'm into. So she came back with 4 books. Now, she gifted me The Awakening Fire by Cassidy Fairlane. And basically, she got this one a couple months ago, and as soon as she opened it and saw this cover, she had to read it immediately. She read it in like 3 days, absolutely loved it, and she sent this to me as a gift for Christmas. And when I asked her to recommend me 4 books, this was definitely on the list. She's like, yes, you have to read that. And then next up, she loved the Fetch Phillips books by Luke Arnold, who I believe is an actor on Black Sails. I think I've gotten the TV show right. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I think that is the show that he is an actor on. But he also writes books. And this is The Last Smile in Sunder City, book 1 in the Fetch Phillips. She's current on the series, and she absolutely loved it. So she also recommended this one to me. It's pretty short, and hopefully, I think it's about a city where there was magic, but now the magic's gone. But like, you've still got magical creatures, and like, Fetch Phillips is an individual who is being hired to do odd jobs around this city and to fix things. I think that is how that is going to go. Next up, I am doing the audio of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. Leslie absolutely loved this one. This is kind of an Irish folktale historical fiction, or maybe historical fantasy style of book. It's got a gorgeous cover. I don't own it physically, but I do have the audiobook. I have been assured that the audiobook narrator delivers an amazing performance, so I'm super excited to get into this one. And then the last book that she recommended to me was Ungodly by Braden Reddick, I believe is the author's name. I've heard nothing but good things about this. She says it's one of the most beautiful horror stories she's ever read. I do like the occasional good bit of horror, so fingers crossed that I am going to love this one. So thank you, Leslie, for these recommendations. I am going to do my best to read all of these this month. And then, of course, within the Wizardly Duo Discord, we are currently hosting a Malazan read-along. We are still very early. This is January, so it's time for Dead House Gates. I actually enjoyed Gardens of the Moon more the second time than I did the first time, so I'm actually now looking forward to my Dead House Gates reread. There is still time to join this read-along. You can check in the description box down below for the link to the Wizardly Duo Discord where we are hosting this. So, yeah, this month is Dead House Gates, and I will be reading that one. And then let's just do the read-along stuff. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. So I've got 3 read-along books. Oh, geez, they're kind of heavy books right here. Now, my buddy Chris from Aficionado Escapist, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit this one in because it starts in January. I'm putting this one on here. optimistically. We have got Janie Wirt's Cycle of Fire, and that starts with Storm Warden. My buddy Nico read this one, I think a year to a year and a half ago, and he kept recommending it to me, and I bought the bind-up, and then I never got around to reading it. And now that there's a buddy read going along that Chris is hosting, it feels like a good time to at least try and get this one started, see if it's for me. Then we, of course, me and Nico are doing our read-along still of The Wheel of Time. This is book 10, which I was supposed to read last month, but I got a month behind, and so now it's time for Crossroads of Twilight, arguably the worst book in the Wheel of Time series, but yeah, the actual one that is being done in the month month of January is Knife of Dreams, but I will be reading Crossroads of Twilight, and I'll just have to be a month behind. And then my good friend Joanna is hosting a Song of Ice and Fire read-along, and we start that in January with a Game of Thrones. So I'm excited to give this one a try. I tried it back in, I think, 2016, and I just wasn't in the right space at the time to read it. So I'm excited to come back to it now with fresh eyes, and fingers crossed that I just end up loving it. Now, speaking of my patrons, who I just absolutely love my patrons, I appreciate all the support. You guys really push me to put out better content, to just kind of give you that little something extra. So thank you so much. You guys just really give me the drive to be a better content creator, and the support helps, with just making constant upgrades to the channel, which I've been really pushing for here lately with the new logo, new opening cards, new editing software. I should be getting a new laptop here in the next couple of months, so all of that really, really helps. So a huge thank you to my patrons. But last month, I read The Bone Ships, which is the first book in the Tide Child trilogy, and I really, really enjoyed it. It started out really rough, and then just as that book goes along, it just won me over. And so I decided to put up the vote this month on the Patreon to be kind of a sequels thing, and I gave them 5 sequels to vote on of books that we could read for the Patron Buddy Read. And of course, Tide Child Book 2 came up. This is Call of the Bone Ships. I'm super excited. I can't wait to get back with Jordan and Maze and the Tide Child. Oh, it was so good. I'm kind of sad that I waited so long to read R.J. Barker's The Tide Child, but I'm super excited to be into it now. Like, this book is just awesome. Like, if you want nautical fantasy, like 90%, 90 to 80%, 80 to 90%, I don't know how math works. I read books, I don't do math. But 90 to 80 to 90%, I'll get it right eventually, it takes place on a boat. And it's all about maintaining a boat, it's about sea battles, it's about just running a flotilla, running a ship, growing into your role, becoming an officer, and then of course it's about sea dragons as well. So it was great stuff. I just ended up really loving that book. So this is the second one. And then my patron Stitch got to choose a book from anywhere on my TBR for me to read, and he chose book 1 of the Chivalry series by Christian Cameron. This is The Ill-Made Knight. It's an historical fiction, I believe, about England and France. In the battle for the kingdom of France, one man fights for his honor. September 1356, Poitiers, the greatest knights of an age, are ready to give battle. On the English side, Edward, the Black Prince, who earned his spurs at, I can't pronounce that city name, so that'll be fun. And on the French side, the king and his son, I can't pronounce that either, with 12,000 knights. Sounds super awesome. And then I've got 3 more books that I want to read in the month of January. They are all beefy. 2 of them are sequels and one's a review copy. And we've got, of course, Ryan Cahill's Of Darkness and Light. I read Of Blood and Fire last year, and I also read, Exile, The Fall. No, I keep thinking The Exile because it's the other novella. I read The Fall and Of Blood and Fire like 6 or 7 months ago, and this has just been on the shelf for a long time. Book 3 is in its editing process, so I need to get it done so that when Book 3 comes out, I can be current. So that is Bound and the Broken Book 2. Then I really enjoyed the Matthew Corbett Book 1, Speaks the Nightbird, and I've heard Book 2 is even better, and that's The Queen of Bedlam by Robert McCammon. Historical fiction set in the early Americas. What's not to love? It was great. There's one scene in Book 1 that's just going to make you cringe a little bit, but other than that, flawless masterpiece. And then I want to read a zany great palate cleanser book. And right now the buzz is going around that the best self-pub kind of zany book that has recently come out is The Crew by Sadir S. Samir. And I can't wait to read this. I've heard it's like Kings of the Wild mixed with Deadpool. People have been posting pictures holding onions. I would like to know what that is all about. But yeah, so I'm curious to read this one. And I'm super excited because my buddy Bo absolutely loves this. And then finally, I will also be probably wrapping up Indie Inc. and SPSFC 2. I'm not going to really put those on the TBR because most of those are kind of dedicated towards the competitions. I don't want to weight those one way or the other and kind of tip my hand a little bit. So I will be reading those as well and finishing that up, and then we can kind of know the results. So that's really all I've got for you in January. Please let me know what books in the comments down below that you are excited to start off the year with, and let's have a good old discussion about it. Till next time, guys, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.